Between death and a new birth, in communion with beings of the higher hierarchies, a person is working at this whole system of forces permeating the cosmos. For between death and a new birth, he is not inactive. He is perpetually at work in the spiritual. The animal kingdom is the first realm with which he makes acquaintance, and in the following way. If he commits some error, he immediately becomes aware of pain, of suffering in the environment. If he does something right, he becomes aware of pleasure, of joy in the environment. He works on and on, calling forth pleasure or pain, until finally the soul is such that it can descend and unite with what will live on earth as a physical body. The being of soul could never descend if it had not itself worked at the physical form. It is the animal kingdom, then, with which acquaintance is made in the first place. The next is the human kingdom. Mineral nature and the plant kingdom are absent. Acquaintance with the human kingdom is limited between death and a new birth, and this begins immediately or soon after death. The soul has contact and can make links only with those human souls, whether still living on earth or in yonder world, with whom he has already been karmically connected on earth in the last or in an earlier incarnation. Other souls pass him by. They do not come within his ken. He becomes aware of the animal realm as a totality. Only those human souls come within his ken with whom he has had some karmic connection here on earth, and with these he becomes more and more closely acquainted. You must not imagine that their number is small, for individual human beings have already passed through many lives on the earth. In every life, numbers of karmic connections have been formed, and of these is spun the web which then in the spiritual world connects all the souls whom the dead has known in life. Only those with whom no acquaintance has been made remain outside the circle. This indicates a truth which must be emphasized, namely, the supreme importance of earthly life for the individual human being. If there had been no earthly life, we should be unable to form links with human souls in the spiritual world. The links are formed karmically on the earth, and then continue between death and a new birth. Those who are able to see into the spiritual world perceive how the dead person gradually makes more and more links, all of which are the outcome of karmic connections formed on earth. Just as we can say of the first kingdom with which the dead come into contact, the animal kingdom, that everything the dead do, even when they simply move, causes either pleasure or pain in their environment, so we can say about everything experienced in the human realm in yonder world that it is much more intimately connected with the life of soul. When the deceased becomes acquainted with the soul, he gets to know this soul as if he himself were within it. After death, knowledge of another soul is as intimate as knowledge here on earth of our own finger, head, or ear. We feel ourselves within the other soul. The connection is much more intimate than it can ever be on earth. There are two basic experiences in the community among human souls between death and a new birth. We are either within the other souls or outside them. Even in the case of souls with whom we are already acquainted, we are sometimes within and sometimes outside them. Meeting with them consists in feeling at one with them, being within them. To be outside them means that we do not notice them, do not become aware of them. If we look at some object here on earth, we perceive it. If we look away from it, we no longer perceive it. In yonder world, we are actually within human souls when we are able to turn our attention to them. And we are outside them when we are not in a position to do so. What I have now said is an indication of the fundamental form of the soul's communion with other souls during the period between death and a new birth.